This is 1360 AM. WNJC, Washington Township, Philadelphia. Philadelphia's Renaissance radio station. Brought to you from Forsyth Broadcasting. Or listen to us at WNJCradio.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, the smiling comes I know. Only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hello, I'm Reverend Carl Kelly, and I head up the Frederick Douglass Foundation of Indiana. President Obama's attacks on the Constitution continues to be aided and abetted by one of his trusted allies in Congress, ultra-liberal Democrat Andre Caution of Indianapolis, nationally known for his infamous racial rants against the Tea Party. I want to tell you about J.D. Manier. J.D. will be a representative for the people of the 7th District. J.D. Manier is a pro-growth Reagan conservative and is co-host of the conservative Commandos Radio show. He is asking you to join his army of supporters in order to defeat Carson and go to Washington to demand special prosecutors for Benghazi, the IRS, and other scandals. J.D. is interested in what's good for the people of the 7th District, not Nancy Pelosi. He will promote strong economic growth and jobs by getting the government off the backs of the people, voting for tax cuts and slashing regulations. Help elect a pro-life defender of freedom who will strongly support Israel, vote to cut wasteful spending, and battle to repeal Obama's socialist agenda. Log on to ManierForCongress.com and donate today. That's MINIEAR for Congress.com. Paid for and authorized by the J.D. Manier for Congress Committee.
I'm J.D. Manier, candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives, Indiana District 7, and I approve of this message.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the Internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360 and WIFI 1460. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
This is Anna Little sitting in for Rick Trader today on the Conservative Commandos radio show, and I'm here with my co-host, Jonathan Mosley. We are here to broadcast to you from the CCRS studios at WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with our new Internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, and VigilantLibertyRadio.us. And now you can listen to the Conservative Commandos radio show at any time, any day, by calling 832-999-1199. Call using your cell phone at no extra cost. It does use mobile minutes. That's 832-999-1199. And we also encourage you to please check out our websites at conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com. Jonathan Mosley, welcome to Conservative Commandos radio show today.
Welcome. It's good to be back with you again. A lot going on.
Yes. Yeah, well, we've got some breaking news, which I'll just jump right into because it's on one of my favorite subjects. It's that old Benghazi subject, you know, the one the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about. About an hour ago, maybe a little more than that, John Boehner announced that there's a special committee on Benghazi, and they've subpoenaed John Kerry, Secretary of State, to talk about some of the document discrepancies there. And, I think that's really important news. What do you think, Jonathan?
I think it's extraordinary. I'm wondering why, because he has resisted this. John Boehner has resisted this for a long, long time. And I don't understand why. We're going to have his primary opponent on at 4 o'clock, J.D. Winterig, but I don't think that John Boehner is in any great trouble of winning his primary next week for re-election. I wonder what is going on there, but it would have been a lot better a year ago in terms of the impact, but good, but curious that it's taken us this long.
Well, I agree with all of that you've said, and I think it's about time somebody put this in the forefront. I mean, it certainly was swept under the rug in light of the presidential election, and I think that was just unfair to the American people. But I think it's even more important that the memories of those 4 men lost are perpetuated and that we certainly do them justice. And I think that this particular special committee and the subpoena against Secretary of State Kerry is long overdue and certainly necessary if we're going to give justice to the deaths of these men.
Now, Anna, you of course have been on the campaign trail and having to think about all that. And I don't know if maybe, to me, I think this email that has come out in the last couple of days from Judicial Watch is extremely important, but probably to you and me and most of our listeners, not much of a surprise. And I wonder if someone like John Boehner just really didn't believe there was any there, and he really thought this whole thing was, a lot about nothing, and suddenly, he thinks he has more cover politically, or maybe he's starting to really believe that there's something there himself. I just wonder what the thinking might be. How do you feel about that?
Well, Well, I think that the conservative think tanks and then certainly the off-the-record meetings that go on in D.C. Are of extreme influence on the GOP right now. I've been going back and forth to D.C. for upwards of 4 years now, and I've been participating in some of those off-the-record meetings, and it seems to me that even if the GOP leadership takes a step out of line, conservatives get a chance to reel them back in. So I think, it's really good service to the American people to see conservatives and Republicans working together at some level. I mean, is it smooth working? Not all the time, but I think when conservatives and Republicans work together, the American people are best served. So I think there is a lot of merit to what you've said.
Well, here's a softball question. What do you think about Trey Gowdy leading this select committee?
Well, I'm just happy the committee's there. I think, I don't trust leadership from anybody. I got to be honest with you. I mean, there's one fella down in the House of Representatives that I think I trust. And I always say I think I trust. That's a kind of a caveat there. But I like my friend Louis Gohmert a lot. So I mean, I trust him. But barring that one individual, I think the leadership there is less important as the transparency of the group in total, because I think the real leadership has to come from we the people. And I think the only reason we're still talking about Benghazi today is because that leadership has been provided by we the people through conservatives to the GOP, and here we are at the House of Representatives finally investigating. Yes, it took too long, but I think that we can't delegate, responsibility to leadership in any way.
I'm kind of wondering what John Kerry, since he wasn't there then, I'm kind of curious what they're thinking. I don't know if you've had any insights, whether it's just about how in the world they could withhold this email and presumably others all this time, or do you think there's something else there with Kerry?
I think that there was a definite cover-up right from the get-go. I think it stemmed from the White House. I think John Kerry is doing the bidding of the White House. I think the former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton did the same. I think their presentation to the public was complete fraud and falsehood, and I think it was all done to attempt to manipulate voters in the the last months or weeks or days up until the presidential election. I honestly believe that manipulation of the facts in the context of a presidential election like that, or any election, with a direct intent to manipulate the voters, should be considered, as at the very least, an offense against the Constitution.
Yeah, I think so. And now, I heard somebody saying, I think last night, that kind of commenting how we're seeing how blatantly they lied to us. But I don't know if that was Sean Hannity or someone who was saying, but it's not illegal for them to lie to us. You were running for Congress, if I'm not mistaken. That's, I think, a big part of this is blatant. I'm kind of wondering, too, if they're lying like that to influence an election. I almost wonder if they're electioneering from the White House and from the State Department, as opposed to just the garden variety government lying.
Well, I could take it to a further extreme, too. And, obviously all of this is for contemplation and discussion. But if the government is seated in we the people, and the election process is the means by which we select representatives to do our job as we the people, to represent us and to listen to us, and if someone is absolutely intent on manipulating that, which I believe was the case in this particular circumstance dealing with Benghazi and the presidential election, well, shouldn't we ought to be able to say that's treason against the U.S. government? And I know that's a big extreme, going to treason, but, the point is, we can't allow our government to be manipulated this way, and we can't allow propagandizing rather than reporting of the facts. I mean, to take a journalistic opinion and put it forward, if it's identified as such, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're reporting the news, or if you're a government official and you're reporting the facts surrounding a circumstance. It is one thing to omit. It is something, again, even worse, to give misinformation, and that's what's happened here. And I believe it was deliberate and intentional. And I think it should be elevated to a level far above, oops, I'm sorry. There has to be some consequence for this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I guess we should probably go through, 30 seconds. Okay, I'm going to go to a break at this point, Jonathan, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about our guests, okay?
All right.
Listeners, if you would like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time, you can log on to patriotsride.org. But for now, we are coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet. We are going to break right now. We hope you'll check out our websites at conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com, and we'll see you after the break.
They say I'm crazy, I really don't care, that's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, the smiling comes, I know. Only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. show. We are broadcasting live today from our flagship station, WNJC 1360, and around the world in the Internet. If you would like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time, you can log on to www.patriotsride.org. And for a rebroadcast of yesterday's Conservative Commandos radio show at 5 p.m. this evening Eastern Standard Time, you can go to cprworldwidemedia.com and click on the Listen Live link. You can also listen to a repeat broadcast of today's show tomorrow afternoon by going to vigilantlibertyradio.us and clicking on the Listen Live link. And now you can listen to Conservative Commandos radio show at any time of day by calling 832-999-1199. That's 832-999-1199. Call using your cell phone at no extra cost, but it does use your mobile minutes. I'm here broadcasting today in lieu of Rick Trader, who has taken the day off. Poor guy, he's missing out. But I do have my co-host, Jonathan Mosley, with me today. Jonathan, let's go through some of the guests we're going to be speaking with this afternoon.
Great.
I'll start off with Jessie Jane Duff, who's due at 3:34, and I'm going to lead that interview. Now, Jessie Jane Duff is quite the hero, I believe, in America. She is a member of the Concerned Veterans for America's Organizing Committee, but she is retired from the United States Marine Corps after 20 years of service. So who better than to talk to us about veterans issues than a veteran herself? And right there at the Marines, at the front of the front lines. In her final assignment as a Marine, she was on the executive staff as an equal opportunity advisor to the commander of Marine Forces Pacific, which is the largest operational command in the Marine Corps. And she's now an independent consultant in the defense industry, so she's really qualified. And Jonathan, she's going to talk to us today about what are we doing to care for American veterans, or maybe the better question is what we are not doing to care for America's veterans. So I'm really excited to be talking with Jessie Jane Duff this afternoon. I'm also going to have the opportunity to interview Peter Roth. Now, Peter Roth is a contributing editor at U.S. News and World Report, and he's formerly a senior political writer for United Press International. He's affiliated with several public policy organizations, which include Let Freedom Ring and Frontiers of Freedom. And his writing has appeared in National Review, Fox News Opinion, Daily Caller, Politico, and we can follow him on Twitter at Peter Roth. We're going to be very excited to talk to him about the U.S. House of Representatives holding the Obama administration accountable for failures, not only in Libya, but in Ukraine, Iran, and around the globe. And he's also talking to us today about our own New Jersey State Senator, Bob Menendez, as leader of the Foreign Relations Committee, whether he's doing his job as chairman or whether he might be encouraged to step down. So I'm very excited about talking to Peter Roth, especially with that New Jersey reference, as that's my home state. Jonathan, who are you interviewing this afternoon?
Yes, in the middle of that, we have J.D. Winteregg, who is running against John Boehner for the Republican primary in the United States Congress next week. I guess one of the bravest people in America there. We know a few. And that's a big challenge. I'm not sure that he's going to pull that off. But there's some interesting things we're going to talk about what's going on with the Republican leadership nationally, why he thinks that's important, similar to the interview we had with David Bratt going up against Eric Cantor about 2 weeks ago, and the possibility and rumors that are out there that after Boehner wins this nomination, he's then going to push amnesty, and the new amnesty plan or immigration reform plan that J.D. Winteregg has put forward. So he's got an uphill struggle, but a lot of national issues about the leadership we're getting out of the House.
Well, that sounds very interesting, Jonathan. And as an immigration attorney, I'll tell you, amnesty is not the answer. It doesn't solve problems. It takes a select group of people and gives them benefits for a very short period of time, and then, just leaves a broken system to administer to everybody else. So amnesty is certainly not the answer. But I'm really glad you're going to be talking to Mr. Winteregg about all of that, because I know he's going to have a lot to enlighten us about. But what's on your mind today, Jonathan?
Well, first I wanted to follow up with the Benghazi bit. Of course, I was able to be at home and watch the C-SPAN interview with the a general from Germany who watched as the events unfolded in Germany. I think that's also part of what's happening here, where he confirmed. And again, the news here is stuff that everybody on this radio show already knows, but the rest of the world doesn't want to admit or acknowledge that we could have responded. We could have moved to rescue those people, the diplomats in Benghazi, and didn't. And that just added some real confirmation, I think, that brought the reality home there. And you were mentioning before about the idea of treason. You are, as a lawyer, there's a difference between just the common sense meaning of some of these words and maybe the technical definition, but I think most people on a common sense level would agree with you about that. But anyway, we've got a bunch of other things going on in the news out there. Let's see about some of these short issues. There's one real interesting thing. According to BizPac Review, there's a Republican lawmaker from Utah and a member of the House Appropriations Committee who's trying to cut the funds for the paramilitary units in the various departments that really shouldn't have them. Like we saw about how the Bureau of Land Management has SWAT teams, and BizPac Review has the photographs up here of them in there. Basically they look like total soldiers going over into a war zone. And some people might have wondered, why does the Bureau of Land Management basically have its own private army? We put some articles up a while ago. We discussed about the U.S. Department of Education having a SWAT team. And I think, my feeling is most people just think, nah, that's not real. That's not happening. But it is confirmed, even by the U.S. Department of Education. So Chris Stewart, a Republican from Utah, is trying to defund all of these paramilitary units within the various, what we call domestic federal departments.
Well, I think these paramilitary units are scary, especially when you're dealing with a president or an administration that believes that they can legislate by executive order rather than going through Congress. If they don't get the cooperation of the legislative body, well, they'll just make an edict and everybody will have to follow it. So, having these paramilitary groups in branches of the federal government, like the IRS, who are not necessarily beholden to the public directly, they're semi-autonomous. These groups, it's a scary situation because there could be enforcement via the executive branch, and that would leave we the people through our representatives in reactive mode. And of course, with gun control being what it is, you hope that people have taken advantage of their Second Amendment right in order to fight back if the executive branch tends to act out of line and perhaps in a tyrannical or oppressive manner. So, I think I could back this GOP lawmaker wanting to cut these armed units. Let's just leave it with the U.S. Army, and we'll go from there, the 5 branches of the military, and go from there. I don't think we need to have these paramilitary groups. How about you, Constance?
I think we're only got a few minutes here, but, I'm not a hardcore sheriff, right kind of person. Don't go quite that far, but you do have to wonder with Clive and Bundy and some of these other issues, why don't they just call the local sheriff? Why do they need to bring in their own paramilitary unit instead of just calling up the local? What? Good point. Very good point. Yeah, I mean that's the whole idea. But they do want people who answer to them, to the president, and not to any of the local governors or local leadership. They could call up the National Guard if they need to, but it's like the U.S. Department of Education has its own little army, so I got to have one too. You can imagine the discussions in all the different agencies.
Yeah, I just think it's just plain dangerous. I mean, I think we need to have one government. We need to have it in 3 branches. I mean, the Constitution lays it out pretty clearly. So I don't think anybody needs enforcement other than through the military. But that's one woman's opinion. It's time to go to break. So I'm going to take us out to break. Listeners, we are coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with our new Internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com and PatriotsRight.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us. And you can listen to the Conservative Commandos radio show anytime, any day by calling 832-999-1199. Please check out our websites at conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com, and we'll be talking to you right after the break.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I...
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
Hello, I'm Reverend Carl Kelly, and I head up the Frederick Douglass Foundation of Indiana. President Obama's attacks on the Constitution continues to be aided and abetted by one of his trusted allies in Congress, ultra-liberal Democrat Andre Carson of Indianapolis, nationally known for his infamous racial rants against the Tea Party. I want to tell you about J.D. Manier. J.D. will be a representative for the people of the 7th District. J.D. Manier is a pro-growth Reagan conservative and is co-host of the Conservative Commandos Radio show. He is asking you to join his army of supporters in order to defeat Carson and go to Washington to demand special prosecutors for Benghazi, the IRS, and other scandals. JD is interested in what's good for the people of the 7th District, not Nancy Pelosi. He will promote strong economic growth and jobs by getting the government off the backs of the people, voting for tax cuts and slashing regulations. Help elect a pro-life defender of freedom who will strongly support Israel, vote to cut wasteful spending, and battle to repeal Obama's socialist agenda. Log on to ManierForCongress.com and donate today. That's MINIEAR for Congress.com. Paid for and authorized by the J.D. Manier for Congress Committee.
I'm J.D. Manier, candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives, Indiana District 7, and I approve of this message.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. If you would like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time, you can log on to patriotsride.org. And for a rebroadcast of yesterday's Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 5 p.m. this evening, you can go to cprworldwidemedia.com, clicking on the Listen Live link. And you can also listen to repeat broadcasts of today's show tomorrow afternoon by going to vigilantlibertyradio.us. Again, click on that Listen Live link. And now you can listen to Conservative Commandos Radio Show at any time, any day, by calling 832-999-1199. That's 832-999-1199. Call using your cell phone at no extra cost. It uses mobile minutes. So I think we're going to go now to Jonathan Mosley. You've got a comment on your mind, Jonathan.
Yeah, I want to encourage people. This phone system is really amazing because I found that if I want to follow, I'm stuck to my computer now. I'm starting the Conservative Commandos Exercise Club because you can get your cell phone and go out for a walk and listen to what's going on while walking around on your cell phone. It really is quite amazing. I'm really amazed the more I think about this new plan we have here. But,
well, Jonathan, I've got to interrupt you because our guest is ready, and we know we do not like to keep our guests waiting. Go ahead and introduce our guest, since that honor is mine. This afternoon, listeners, we are going to be speaking with Jessie Jane Duff. Jessie Jane Duff is a member of the Concerned Veterans for America's Organizing Committee. Jessie is retired from the United States Marine Corps after 20 years of service, and in her final assignment as a Marine, Jessie was on the executive staff as the Equal Opportunity Advisor to the Commander of Marine Forces Pacific, the largest operational command in the Marine Corps.
Okay, that resume is probably a little dated, though. I appreciate you reading it, but I know the listeners are probably yawning.
Commandos Radio Show this afternoon. Welcome, Jessie Jane.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being invited to the show.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Now, Jessie, as a veteran from the Marine Corps, we are so excited to hear you talk to us today about what we are doing, or perhaps what we're not doing, to care for America's veterans in the United States today. Care to open the subject for us?
Well, there's not anything that we as citizens aren't doing. It's that what is our Veterans Administration not doing. And unfortunately, we have right now, it's in the headlines on CNN and Fox News significantly about the 40 dead veterans in Phoenix who didn't receive medical care on time because of a secret list that they had managed. And unfortunately, the secret list was of people that were waiting for appointments who never received their appointments. Some people were waiting close to 2 years. There were 1,606 veterans that they had on this list. And essentially, because of their backlog in appointments, they didn't want to report it to Washington, I assume, so that their numbers wouldn't look bad. And it's pretty much hit the headlines because a doctor came out and was a whistleblower, and he said, listen, this is what I went through when I was working there. It's essentially, it's a terrible thing, and we've got veterans that are dying because they're not getting their medical care on time.
Well, you see, that just cannot be permitted, Jessie Jane, because, you know, veterans have put their lives on the line already for all of us, and the very least we can do when they come home is find them the appropriate medical care to see that they live comfortably here in the U.S., and that's the least we can do in respect for their service. So, you know, we do need to take action, and I'm so glad that this whistleblower came forward and that we're getting the opportunity to address this issue now. Do you have recommendations as to we should be doing at the VA?
The thing is that it's very egregious. This has been going on in the United States now for some time. There are 5 dead veterans in Dorn Medical Facility because they couldn't get into appointments in a reasonable period of time, and they didn't get colonoscopies. These are the veterans that we just know about. What about those that we don't know about? Legionnaire's disease up in Ohio Medical Center, and essentially these veterans 700 got sick, and the executive never reported it. 1 even died. Georgia has reported death. Los Angeles has destroyed medical records in 2009, not medical records, I'm sorry, claims for appointments, just like Phoenix, and so has Dallas in 2012. So we're looking at a systemic problem. What can we do? We can pass the VA Management Accountability Act, Senate Bill 2013. Everybody should write their elected officials and have them get that bill through and have it signed, because right now the VA cannot even fire its own executives. Sharon Hellman ran the VA medical facility out in Phoenix, and she had a history of systemic problems. In 2009, she lied about veteran suicides on her watch, and essentially, instead of being reprimanded for it, she was moved out and up, and she moved up to being director of this facility. So there's an integrity issue. There's an accountability issue. What they want these executives to do is drop numbers instead of looking at results of those numbers. So if I have a backlog to get appointments out in Phoenix, why aren't I leaving that backlog there and telling Washington, D.C., I'm sorry, I need more doctors, I need more nurses, I need more people, and show them, versus, well, I want my facility to look good, let's hide who needs an appointment and report back that we're running everything on time. That's what's flawed with their management style and technique, and they're not holding these executives accountable. There's 450 executives within the VA. I don't think it's that hard to manage them.
No, I agree with you, and I think that it's wonderful to hear you not only outline what the problem is, tell us what's not going right or what they're not doing properly, but you've suggested an action step for our listeners, and I want to just go over that quickly one more time. There's a Senate bill. Did you say it was 2013?
13. To Senate Bill 2013. Yep. Anybody can look it up. It's the Department of Veterans Affairs Management and Accountability Act 2013. Right call.
We're all about action steps here at Conservative Commandos radio show. So listeners, you've heard what our guest, Jessie Jane, wants us to do. This is Jessie Jane Duff. She's a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, and she's telling you to call your representatives and encourage them to support Senate Bill 2013, and we're going to get the VA straightened out. We're going to get these veterans the kind of help they need. Am I right, Jessie Jane?
That's correct. That is correct. I appreciate that very much for getting that out there. And you can also go to vaaccountability.org, and that is the website that we're using at Concerned Veterans for America that gives the example of the problem and what people can do about the problem.
That's wonderful. So I think at this point, I wanted to just also double back for a very short time before the break and talk a little bit about suicide. Now, I know we all look at our soldiers and we think of them as these strong, hard-headed individuals. They are trained, they are on their mission, and they carry out that mission. But being exposed to combat for I don't know how many years, maybe 12, maybe 13 years, maybe even more.
It's not just combat veterans. It's not just combat veterans.
Gentlemen and ladies, they come home changed. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, let's clarify one thing. It's not just combat veterans, and people have to really start removing the stigma of combat. It's really any veteran who is going through any type of hard time. You know, veteran suicides, 22 veterans are dying a day from self-inflicted wounds, suicide. We've got Vietnam veterans that are still suffering who, because they have Agent Orange illness, and that it wasn't even recognized by the VA till 2009. So here you've got people that are ill, sick, disabled. We've got close to 340,000 veterans in a medical backlog with the Veterans Administration, not even getting their benefits yet, and the average wait time is 330 or 40 days now. So these suicides may not be directly associated with combat, and I really want to emphasize that, because the number of people that are killing themselves is not equivalent to those, you know, with that number, it would basically say anybody who went to combat is going to kill themselves. And so we have just the wide range of issues and concerns with some of our young veterans that may very well, and older veterans, may very well not be getting care that they need, may be unemployed, some of them may be disabled, some of them may be dealing with different issues concerning combat. So there's a wide range of issues that can contribute to why people are committing suicide. But the VA hotline in itself, they had one, and there were reported wait times of an hour in one location that we had surveyed. There's also been long wait times just getting in for mental health care, over 2 weeks. So we have to...
I'm going to have to stop you there, Jessie Jane. We're going to have to go to a break right now. Can you hold that thought, because we're going to pick it up right on the other side of break.
I'll try. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you would like to hear our rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening, you can log on to patriotsride.org, and we're going to our break right now. For a rebroadcast of yesterday's show, you can go to cprworldwidemedia.com, and you can also go for a rebroadcast of today's show at vigilantlibertyradio.us. Click on those Listen Live links, and we are going to break now. Please check out our websites at conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com. We are speaking with Jessie Jane Duff about the needs of our veterans and what we can do to get them proper care. We'll see you after the break.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. We are broadcasting to you live from WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia and around the world on the Internet. We are proud of our new Internet broadcast partners at cprworldwidemedia.com, patriotsride.org, vigilantlibertyradio.us. And we know that you are very, very focused on our guest, Jessie Jane Duff, a 20-year military veteran, talking to us about care for America's veterans here in the United States. We were talking just before the break about psychological issues, some combat-related, but not all combat-related, and the fact that there is a hotline for veterans. Perhaps there are some veterans listening to the show today. Jessie Jane Duff, would you please remind us about the hotline and tell us some of the issues with it?
I apologize. I had you on mute. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I can't give you any information about the hotline because I don't handle VA the VA medical side in any way, shape, or form. So I would suggest if anybody is looking for a VA hotline, they easily probably can Google that or look it up on the internet. My complaint with the hotline was that when we did surveys, that there were reports of people waiting up to an hour on the hotline. So that is where we're advocates to reform the Veterans Administration. And I'm a 20-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps, so essentially we're used to getting things done and holding people accountable. We don't see the Veterans Administration doing that, and that's probably what's really making things very, very difficult for all of us at Concerned Veterans for America to understand or trust our government, because we as a nation owe it to those who have served that if they have a service-related disability or need some type of care related to their service, that we are doing that. And it appears right now that we have a very broken VA medical system, and we have a very broken VA medical benefit system. Neither are running smoothly, and neither are functioning smoothly. And this is a great discredit to the $160 billion that our nation gives them. So it's unfortunate on so many levels.
You know, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, Jessie Jane, about some comments that Senator John Walsh, a Democrat in Montana, said. I guess he's an Iraq War veteran, and he was on CNN's State of the Union last Sunday talking about this very issue. And his question, I guess, to his colleagues on Capitol Hill was, if lawmakers are willing to spend billions of dollars on war itself, then why are they less willing to invest in the welfare of veterans when they come home? And it sounds to me like they ought not to be, that if you're going to be sending soldiers into harm's way or training them even to be prepared to be in harm's way, well, then we owe it to them to take care of them when they come home.
Well, I don't think anybody's debating that. You know, I don't think anybody's debating whether we as a nation need to care for them. Let's focus on who is not doing their job, and that's the Veterans Administration. They have created a bureaucracy that is incapable of functioning smoothly. You know, when I hear the terms like, well, we owe it to them, absolutely. No one, not one person, even the President himself has not disputed that. The President has essentially said in his remarks on Monday that his administration has provided more funding to this the Veterans Administration than any other, which he has. The budget increased probably, since 2007, probably by over 100% easily. They get $160 billion. They have 300,000 employees. The we is the Veterans Administration. Those executives who have not streamlined their process, that secretary who has assured us when he swore into office in 2009 that he would get rid of the benefits backlog, it increased by 2,000% under his watch. And I know why it increased, because he opened the doors for the Agent Orange illnesses. He opened the doors for PTSD. Keep in mind, the VA didn't even recognize those things prior to 2009. So I commend Secretary Shinseki for doing that. But what I cannot understand is, if you know you're going to have more people applying for a benefit, and you're not prepared to handle the workload, then there's a serious problem. The system was still highly manual all the way up to over a year ago, and 97% of it was manual, not automated. So the nation cares about its veterans. I don't even question that. I mean, I'm told consistently that people honor my service even if they didn't support the wars or don't support what an administration is doing. I've never felt, since I've been a veteran, a retired United States Marine, that my service wasn't respected or honored. And I am okay with those people who don't agree with sometimes the missions that we performed. That is fine by me. That's why I serve, to defend all opinion. We are a free nation. But the VA, their sole purpose is to take care of these veterans. So the we is a VA. The Veterans Administration has become dysfunctional, systemic problems that are resulting in deaths and lack of care for its veterans, and it's unfortunate that veterans have to die before people realize that how egregious the problem is. We've been reporting this, Concerned Veterans for America, for over 2 years, the problems. And now it's hit a peak. So, it's very unusual, the attention it's getting now, when we pretty much were screaming that these backlogs were resulting in higher rates of suicide and how many veterans were dying because they couldn't even get their benefits.
Jonathan.
Yep. Go ahead. John Mosley co-host for today, too. I was wondering, $160 billion should be enough to get the job done. I think.
Well, they have the second largest budget next to the DOD. It's absolutely enough money. It's not a money problem. It's mismanagement. It's a mismanagement problem. That's the critical issue.
And when the U.S. military transitioned from, I think from some of the difficulties of the past, the Vietnam and everything, to a professional military, you had to change. The military had to change and improve in that regard. What do you think is the obstacle? I think there's been embarrassment with the VA for as long as I can remember politically, and pressure in the media and politically, and yet nothing changes.
Well, I can't say nothing changes. I think things get shuffled around. I think things, you get negative attention played upon something, and then something moves. It's typical bureaucracy. This is a government function that was designed to care for veterans, and whenever you start having large amounts of numbers of people that are employed and job security and a lot of different types of accountability that has nothing to do with the actual results of your work, more about dropping numbers such as getting rid of the backlogs, getting rid of the appointment backlogs, well, then people start being dishonest. The temptation is there. Of all these 450 executives, not one received only one received below a satisfactory performance rating in 2012. Only one of 450 executives, yet that was the peak of the benefits backlog. We had close to 600,000 veterans who couldn't even get their benefits from the VA at that time. We have one executive who received $80,000 in bonuses in a period of 4 years, yet 4 or 5 deaths were associated with his watch due to mismanagement. He's probably the executive in reference to the Dorn Medical Facility that I mentioned earlier. 5 men dead because they couldn't get in for colonoscopies. My question is, how many veterans sat on those waiting lists and just went somewhere else to get their care? In Los Angeles, they deleted records in 2009, several thousand records of people waiting for their appointments. Same thing they did in similar to what they're doing in Phoenix. They're starting to delete the records now in Phoenix, but in Los Angeles they actually deleted anything that was older than April 2007 because essentially the VA was granted authority to start deleting records more than 90 days old, requesting appointments. I would challenge all the listeners to go to the Washington Examiner, a report that came out just yesterday. 1.5 million records have been destroyed by the Veterans Administration, and they cannot see whether those veterans ever received care or not. I'm not talking about those who haven't gotten benefits. I'm talking about those that were either waiting for appointments, that were waiting for care, were on some kind of list. 1.5 million documents were destroyed. Now, this is a result of the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. So they were audited by a government agency, and they came up with 1.5 million veterans records that were destroyed. These are veterans waiting for appointments because the VA gave a very loose and open-ended statement that anything over 90 days old could be deleted at their discretion. So what they do, they go clean house. They could not handle taking care of these veterans due to the large flow of people coming in who had these claims, the Agent Orange, the PTSD, the Desert Storm, on top of the veterans that were coming off of active duty. And meanwhile, they've not seen some of these veterans till they ended up in the emergency room.
Well, it sounds like there's a real crisis of leadership. Again, and I think most people, I worked in the U.S. government domestic agency for 5 years, and people cannot really understand that $160 billion can be badly spent and badly managed. But who is, have we ever had a good leader in the VA, and do we need to
I haven't gone back and looked at all the leaders in the VA. I know Secretary Shinseki is not holding his executives accountable. I know that he has not been on the front lines for this. He has the second largest bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. next to DOD, yet we never see him on the press. We never see him addressing this. We never see him taking the bull by the horn, saying this is unacceptable. We've heard more from the IRS scandals. We've heard more from DOJ. They don't even have remotely the size of the budget that the VA has. So, yes, it's a leadership issue. It's a management issue. It's a lack of accountability issue. The issue is plain and clear to me. That's why I simply say everybody should ensure that their representatives, Senate representatives, vote for Senate Bill 2013. It will allow Secretary Shinseki to start firing some of these executives, and I guarantee we'll start seeing a lot of the many problems go away.
Thank you very much, Jessie Jane Duff. We are very, very honored that you spent this time with us this afternoon. We are coming to the end of this segment. So would you just tell our listeners where they can find your work and whatever information or updates you can provide with regard to this very important subject?
Yes, please visit us at concernedveteransforamerica.org or go to VAaccountability.org. If you go to concernedveteransforamerica.org and you are passionate about veterans issues, patriotic issues, you don't have to be a veteran to be involved in our organization. Our sole mission is to fight for the economic freedom, which we all had sworn to defend while we were in uniform. That is our very simple message. We want to get rid of this $17 trillion deficit. We want a more functional government, and what's going on in the Veterans Administration demonstrates that the taxpayer dollars are being mismanaged, mishandled, and our veterans are suffering for that lack of credibility.
Okay, with that, we're going to go to break. Jessie Jane Duff, thank you so very much, and we hope to have you back as a guest again soon.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
You too. Listeners, we are coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. That was Jessie Jane Duff, a 20-year military veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps. She's with Concerned Veterans for America's Organizing Committee. And we are going to break now. We are broadcasting from our flagship station, WNJC 1360 in Philadelphia and around the world on the Internet. We're proud of our new Internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, and VigilantLibertyRadio.us. And you can listen to Conservative Commandos radio show at any time, any day by calling 832-999-1199. That's
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. EnjoyAbaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
EnjoyAbaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Viden, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittlesportshop.com.
Hello, I'm Reverend Carl Kelly, and I head up the Frederick Douglass Foundation of Indiana. President Obama's attacks on the Constitution continues to be aided and abetted by one of his trusted allies in Congress, ultra-liberal Democrat Andre Carson of Indianapolis, nationally known for his infamous racial rants against the Tea Party. I want to tell you about J.D. Manier. J.D. will be a representative for the people of the 7th District. J.D. Manier is a pro-growth Reagan conservative and is co-host of the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. He is asking you to join his army of supporters in order to defeat Carson and go to Washington to demand special prosecutors for Benghazi, the IRS, and other scandals. JD is interested in what's good for the people of the 7th District, not Nancy Pelosi. He will promote strong economic growth and jobs by getting the government off the backs of the people, voting for tax cuts and slashing regulations. Help elect a pro-life defender of freedom who will strongly support Israel, vote to cut wasteful spending, and battle to repeal Obama's socialist agenda. Log on to ManierForCongress.com and donate today. That's MINIEAR for Congress.com. Paid for and authorized by the J.D. Manier for Congress Committee.
I'm J.D. Manier, candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives, Indiana District 7, and I approve of this message.
You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you would like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time, log on to patriotsride.org. For a rebroadcast of yesterday's Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 5 p.m. this evening, go to cprworldwidemedia.com, clicking on the Listen Live link. And you can also listen to today's show tomorrow afternoon by going to vigilantlibertyradio.us, clicking on the Listen Live link. And now you can listen to Conservative Commandos Radio Show at any time, any day, by calling 832-999-1199, 832-999-1199. Use your cell phone at no extra cost. It does use mobile minutes. Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. We're excited to have another guest, and I'm turning it over to co-host Jonathan Mosley for the honor of the introduction.
Thank you. Yes, J.D. Winteregg is one of the bravest conservatives in America, I think. J.D. Winteregg is running against Republican Speaker of the House, John Boehner, in Ohio's 8th congressional district, out in the western part of Ohio. He is a leader within several Tea Party liberty groups there. J.D. earned a bachelor's degree in international business and French from Ohio Wesleyan University. He also has a master's in education degree in foreign language education from Wright State University and an M.A. in French from Ohio State University. And he's currently pursuing a Ph.D. in foreign and second language education at Ohio State University. J.D. Winteregg is a high school teacher, an adjunct teacher at a nearby university, and he has broad experience working in France and door-to-door sales and all different kinds of experiences that he believes helped him out here. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show, J.D. Winteregg.
Thanks. Thank you so much. It's good to be here with you guys.
All right, great. I hope that's loud enough for the studio for you speaking there. I know you're very busy on the campaign trail right now, and I'm glad, as Anna Little, our co-host, has been running for Congress in New Jersey. But for us, the nationwide audience here, people listening all across the country on Conservative Commanders Radio Show, tell us, why are you running against John Boehner? Ann Coulter would be very cross with you running against the Republican incumbent. But you believe that there's some things at stake that affect all of us nationwide. I understand it.
Yeah, so, he's my representative, and we're the most conservative district in Ohio, and we sent that guy there to be a conservative, and he's not doing what we sent him there to do. He's voted to fund Obamacare. He's voted to indefinitely suspend the debt ceiling. I mean, he's until today, he's done nothing with Benghazi. He's not really done much with the IRS scandal. I mean, it's just a laundry list of things that show he's not a conservative and he's not representing us. So if Ann Coulter wants to get upset with me about running against a Republican, I would say we really don't have a Republican there that I'm running against.
Well, now you've heard, and this sometimes things are true, but it's hard to believe. There's been a lot of news coverage about Republican leaders talking to business interests and saying that after primary season is over, they're going to push amnesty. And if these reports and some major conservative publications and business publications are accurate, then we are at risk after next Tuesday. I guess is the primary is next Tuesday. Is that right?
Correct.
And they're saying that John Boehner is waiting until after he wins the primary for re-election this year, and then he may be pushing amnesty if you don't win next Tuesday.
Right. And that's really what I see.
Go ahead.
You see him. I mean, he was here last week for the first time in a long time, and you see him mocking Republicans and mocking conservatives about not wanting to address this immigration issue. He's really pushing this immigration issue. I've actually come up with a plan that fits with what the majority of America wants, because I've been to over 20,000 houses. I've talked to over 10,000 voters at various events, and about immigration, they all say the same thing: we need to secure the border before anything. So I've actually come out with a plan to secure the border. Me, a high school teacher, who's not in Congress, I've actually put something forward. It's called the BEST plan to address the border security issue, and I haven't seen anything from John Boehner or any of the other Republicans addressing this, and it's troubling to me. They're not listening to the constituents of the American public.
And I think you say up on your website, which you might want to give out, so you have a video there on your description on the BEST plan if people scroll down. Let's stop and give your website in case people want to follow along. How do you spell that?
JD Winteregg at gmail.com. So JD Winter like the season, egg like the food.
And .com for the website. Okay, and so what you're hearing is that people in Ohio's 8th district, and you talked to quite a lot of people there, it sounds like, all are saying one thing. John Boehner is saying something different, and he's also not coming up with any solutions. Is that what I hear?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, we see a lot of rhetoric out of John Boehner, but we don't see any action. He might sound like a conservative, calling on someone to go to jail with IRS, but in reality, nothing happened.
So you think that perhaps it's not entirely sincere?
No, not at all. No, he's
all right.
Definitely.
Well, what are the details of your plan? I'm sorry, go ahead. What are
the details of my plan?
Yeah.
The BEST plan. So it stands for Bond at the Border. It's Bond at the Border. There's the B. So the idea is that when immigrants come here, foreign workers, they'll go through the point of entry and they'll open up a bond and get an ID card. They'll deposit $1,000 in this bond. And as they go and they find a job, half of what they work, or half of the money they earn as they work, gets put in this bond account, and that money will stay there until they leave on time. And if they leave on time, they'll collect their money with interest, and they made a pretty penny in the United States. If they don't leave on time, that money is forfeited to law enforcement. The E is making E-Verify permanent, and this will help to enforce that law with respect to employers hiring foreign workers. The S stands for security, so securing the border. We have guys down on, I've talked to ranchers and law enforcement down on the border, and they've said, given the resources, they would be able to shore up the border in about 48 hours. So we need to localize the control of the border. We need to give them the resources that they need in order to address this specific terrain. And finally, the T is a 10% tax on foreign workers as they come in. You think a lot of the illegals now, they spend when they go to the hospitals and don't pay, I mean, that costs us billions of dollars. This will ensure that the hospitals are getting some money from that, and a small percentage of this too will go into a fund that will help them rebuild a middle class back in their home countries. And that's only a tax on foreign workers, not on every American. So this is the best plan we've got out there. This is specifically a border securing plan, and it's something that no one else has put anything up.
Well, you'd think anybody would have the resources to come up with something, not only John Boehner in all his years, but with all his contacts. It is kind of sad that you've got a plan and he doesn't.
Well, yeah.
You've got a video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these people in Congress are supposed to be the cream of the crop, you know, Harvard grads, Yale grads. What did they come up with? Nothing. You know, it's time for action. You know, we need to get rid of this rhetoric.
Yeah, I think it's lack of will. You've got a video up there which ends with his recent very odd experience. You want to comment on him, how your video ends there for Boehner?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was when he was back home at the Rotary meeting, mocking Republicans and conservatives. We wanted to remind the American public that of what he really thinks of the Republicans.
And that's where he goes, "Oh, it's too hard," or whatever. Because basically the idea that we ought to, somehow it's assumed that we ought to give amnesty, and the issue is just where it's too hard to do it, rather than the fact that we don't want to do it at all.
Right. Exactly.
All right, well, we only got I think a minute or so before a 2-minute break, so I want to be careful to launch a big topic. But you must be one of the bravest people in. Is this your first election as to run against the Speaker of the House? Is that correct?
Yeah, I've never run for office before.
Wow, you I don't know whether to be impressed or whatever. What do you think about that? You've taken on a pretty big challenge there.
You know, no one else was doing it. I'm at the right time of my life right now. I'm young enough, still be creative, to still have the energy and stamina to do this. And the Republican Party needs an injection of fresh blood, and I'm willing to do that. And, I've worked hard, and I think it's paid off, seeing where I am now.
I think it's true. It's easy for people to criticize, but for example, Virginia, my recently adopted state for 20 years, is a very big state, lots of conservatives, and basically nobody's running of any who's ever been elected before. In Delaware, I understand there's no Republican candidate at the moment. So it's easy to criticize those who are running, but it's the people who can't. I guess we've got to go now to a break. If you can hold on for 2 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, listeners, we are coming to you live from CCRS Studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia and around the world on the Internet with our new Internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us, and you can listen to this CCR radio show any time of day, any day, 832-999-1199, 832-999-1199. Call using your cell phone at no extra cost. It does use mobile minutes. While we're at the break, please check out our websites at conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today, the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you would like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time, log on to patriotsride.org. For a rebroadcast of yesterday's Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 5 p.m. this evening, go to cprworldwidemedia.com, click on the Listen Live link, and you can listen to a repeat broadcast of today's show tomorrow afternoon by going to vigilantlibерtyradio.us, clicking on the Listen Live link. And now you can listen to Conservative Commandos Radio Show anytime, any day, calling 832-999-1199. That's 832-999-1199. Use your cell phone at no extra cost. It does use mobile minutes. Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. We are speaking today with Jonathan Mosley, and he's going to remind you who our guest is and take us right back to the guest. Jonathan?
Thank you. Yes, we have with us a candidate for Ohio's 8th Congressional District, where Speaker of the House John Boehner is the current incumbent. J.D. Winteregg, who's running for the Republican primary. And let me get back and ask you, this is primary season. If people want to shape the direction of our country, really it is the primaries far more than the general election, and this is it. I'm getting a lot of inquiries from Tea Party Express, Tea Party Patriots, about other candidates in Ohio and other races around the Ben Sasse and others. I was down in the Florida Tea Party, where I am at the moment, and a gentleman there was saying, we don't have a Senate race here in Florida, and what am I supposed to do to make a difference? What can people do, J.D. Winteregg, right now, wherever they are in the country, about your campaign and your race at this moment?
Well, it can help us financially. They can go to jdwinteregg.com and donate. They can also, our platform, our website platform is unique that they can sign up and actually sign up to make phone calls. All they have to do is indicate that they're willing to do phone calls, and we'll give them a list and a script, and they can help us out. The last thing they can do is share whatever we're doing on social media. They can find me on Facebook, J.D. Winteregg for Ohio's 8th Congressional District, or on Twitter, at J.D. Winteregg. They can follow and share and tweet and retweet. And, the biggest thing is getting my name out there and letting people know in Ohio 8 that there is an alternative.
And hopefully send a message not only for that district, but to the Republican leadership to start listening again to the voters of the Republican Party. I think so. It's true. This technology, I hope everybody is up on this, now allows people to make phone calls just as if they could go down to their local Republican headquarters there in Ohio, or your campaign. They can do that right from their home these days. It's a new world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. We've got people all over the country, California, Michigan, Massachusetts. We've got all kinds of people making phone calls for us, and it's pretty incredible if you think about it.
Well, I hope you could continue to try to get on national media and everything too, because I think that played a big role in 2010 in some of these primaries too. Well, now I also understand that you've had to pay some price. I happen to love your ads. You want to talk about? You talk about 23 years is too long and electile dysfunction. But you've also had some blowback, some attacks to pay the price on some of this, haven't you?
Yeah, the university I work at, they informed me because of the ad, the nature of the ad. It's a Christian university. They will not be renewing my contract. So, it's always disheartening. But when I think of the founding fathers and what they did for our country, it's a small price I can pay to at least fight for what I believe is right.
Well, from what I've seen with a lot of friends, from Christine O'Donnell to others, you're not going to stand up and try to change things without having some attacks and scars. That you can't change the status quo easily, and that's a tough thing. But so you were saying you're saying that if we have, well, I don't know, John Boehner, if you have him there for 23 years, it's erectile dysfunction, call your doctor. We need to make a change. And that's the thing. What else do you think about the 8th Congressional District and where you disagree with the current leadership of the Republican Party, such as on spending and our budget?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, thinking about his voting record last year compared to Nancy Pelosi's, I don't know if it's much different. And like I said, we're the most conservative district in Ohio, and to have a guy vote that often with Nancy Pelosi is just, it's sickening to me. And, we differ on a lot of things. Now, he's the speaker. He has a nice megaphone that he can use, and he sounds conservative when he talks. He sounds tough when it comes down to action, when it comes down to actually making these votes. The reality is he has voted to fund Obamacare. He has voted to indefinitely suspend our debt ceiling. He has voted to raise taxes. And the list goes on and on.
It's interesting, too, because some of this discussion comes down to, like, voting, people's ratings and things. But are you concerned about some of the non-vote actions that make a difference in pushing the agenda or pushing the wrong agenda? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, his non-vote, they say traditionally a speaker doesn't vote. And, I think that's kind of a travesty. We send a representative there to vote for us, to think that because he's speaker, he's going to take away our voice by not voting. Constitutionally, the speaker does not have to be a representative, and I think that would be an interesting alternative.
That is interesting. So you say you do believe he's kind of out of touch with the 8th District?
Absolutely. He came back about a week ago, and this is mind-blowing to me. We had an event here that was so politically safe. It was just a meet the candidate night where we spoke on our issues. And as he was in the district, he couldn't even find the time to come to that to talk to the voters. Instead, he opted to go to a fundraiser. That's just reflective of how he's treated us. He doesn't really seem to care about the average man or woman in this district, and he just really seems more concerned with preserving his power. So he is definitely out of touch with us. And it's so bad right now that he is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars running ads with the tagline, "One of us fighting for us." If you have to spend that much money trying to convince us you're one of us, you're probably not one of us.
That's great. So you are out there meeting the voters, though, and talking with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm out as much as I can. And, it's a lot of fun, to be honest. And there's a lot of wisdom out there, wisdom of the voters, and there's a lot of frustration with our current representation. And most people are ready for someone new.
Well, I hope you're right. The Tea Party leader, Russ Murphy in Delaware, insists that what Mike Castle did wrong was not some great conservative conspiracy, but exactly the same thing. He just ignored the voters, wouldn't talk to them. Christine O'Donnell showed up, he didn't, and just out-campaigned him. So I hope that people are noticing what you're telling us here, that you're listening to him and he's giving them the cold shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's like you were talking about earlier. These primaries are the best time to really affect change in America. Typically, 85,000 people go to vote in the primary in Ohio in an off year, and about 16% of that vote would go to Mickey Mouse over John Boehner. So, really, I only need 35% of the vote. That's it.
Well, we'll be watching, and that's very exciting stuff there. I think the 16th congressional district might say they're pretty conservative too. I helped a candidate out there, Paul Schiffer, a couple of years ago. But I didn't know that he wasn't reflecting. People might think that his actions are reflecting, say, a moderate district or something like that. Was he conservative at some point, or just fooling people? What do you think?
John Boehner? I think he went in.
Was he ever in tune with the district, or?
Yeah, I mean, when he went in, when I read about it, I was 8 years old when he first went in. I'm 32 years old now, just to give you an idea how long he's been there. But when he first went in, I read about this guy who was fearless. He put a bag on his head to go down on the floor and fight the establishment. And, you don't hear about that guy anymore. You see a guy who capitulates to the president over and over again to the left, and he just doesn't really seem to care to stand up and fight or interact with his constituents. So he's definitely not the guy he used to be. And that's why I'm a proponent of term limits. That's why I believe we need to limit the time the representatives are there.
Well, as we're running out of time here, but as somebody once said, maybe it's time to bring him home and get him back in touch with home values. Give out your website again, and we're going to run out of time, unfortunately. But how can people make phone calls on your system and get in touch with you and donate?
So you go to jdwinteregg.com. That's jdwinteregg.com.
Thank you so much, and good luck. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless.
Listeners, we are coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with our new Internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us. And now you can listen to Conservative Commandos radio show at any time, any day by calling 832-999-1199. That's 832-999-1199. Use your cell phone at no extra cost. It does use mobile minutes. And please check out our websites while we're at the break at conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Viden, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
Hello, I'm Reverend Carl Kelly, and I head up the Frederick Douglass Foundation of Indiana. President Obama's attacks on the Constitution continues to be aided and abetted by one of his trusted allies in Congress, ultra-liberal Democrat Andre Carson of Indianapolis, nationally known for his infamous racial rants against the Tea Party. I want to tell you about J.D. Manier. J.D. will be a representative for the people of the 7th District. J.D. Manier is a pro-growth Reagan conservative and is co-host of the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. He is asking you to join his army of supporters in order to defeat Carson and go to Washington to demand special prosecutors for Benghazi, the IRS, and other scandals. J.D. is interested in what's good for the people of the 7th District, not Nancy Pelosi. He will promote strong economic growth and jobs by getting the government off the backs of the people, voting for tax cuts and slashing regulations. Help elect a pro-life defender of freedom who will strongly support Israel, vote to cut wasteful spending, and battle to repeal Obama's socialist agenda. Log on to ManierForCongress.com and donate today. That's MINIEAR for Congress.com. Paid for and authorized by the J.D. Manier for Congress Committee.
I'm J.D. Manier, candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives, Indiana District 7, and I approve of this message.
You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you would like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time, go to patriotsride.org. For a rebroadcast of yesterday's show at 5 p.m. this evening Eastern Time, go to cprworldwidemedia.com and click on that Listen Live link. You can also listen to a repeat broadcast of today's show tomorrow afternoon by going to vigilantlibertyradio.us, clicking on that Listen Live link. And now you can listen to Conservative Commandos Radio Show anytime, any day by calling 832-999-1199. That's 832-999-1199. Use your cell phone at no extra cost. It does use mobile minutes. Welcome back, listeners, to Conservative Commandos Radio Show. We are honored this afternoon to be speaking with Peter Roth. Peter Roth is a contributing editor at U.S. News and World Report. He's formerly a senior political writer for United Press International, and he's now affiliated with several public policy organizations, including Let Freedom Ring and Frontiers of Freedom. His writing has appeared in National Review, Fox News' Opinion Section, Daily Caller, Politico, and elsewhere. Follow him on Twitter at Peter Roth. Peter, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here because I'm from New Jersey, and I think you have some information to talk about relative to my U.S. Senator, Bob Menendez. Talk to us about Senator Menendez's troubles and how they're harming American interests at home and abroad.
Well, I think as many people know, Senator Menendez is under investigation by the FBI and I believe by a federal grand jury, looking into allegations of improper relations with a major donor. He's already paid back for some airplane flights that he took on this donor's airplane. And there are some other charges that we won't get too deep into, but let's just say they're of a salacious nature about his behavior on some so-called fact-finding missions. You know, what's interesting here is that allegations merely about what the FBI is looking into are potentially and have been potentially career-ending Senator Menendez ever since they broke more than a year ago on the Drudge Report website. I found it very interesting that just as the Menendez-Kirk bipartisan bill to reimpose sanctions on Iran if they don't go along and do as they promised in the so-called secret deal that they made with the United States and other Western powers about their effort to obtain nuclear weapons. Just as that bill was about to come before the committee for a vote, the chairman pushed his own bill aside. And he did so right after there had been a leak about the investigation into his relationship with his donor. And so it just simply seems to me that that's enough to say he needs to give up the gavel of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee chair.
Well, I think you have some merit there with some of the observations you're making. The United States Senate is in a position where it should hold the Obama administration accountable for failures in a number of foreign countries. I mean, Libya, obviously, with the Benghazi incident, Ukraine, where, Russia's been allowed to invade and annex part of an independent country, which independently we helped make. That's a really interesting situation. Then there's, of course, the failures in Iran and in other locations around the globe. How is it that Senator Menendez, as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee in the U.S. Senate, is in a position to do this, or at least lead the committee in doing this, holding the Obama administration accountable, when he's got such vulnerabilities? I wonder, does he have the freedom to do that and stay in office, or will he lose Democratic support?
I really don't know. I'm just simply posing the question that since there's an investigation going on that's potentially damaging to his political career and reputation, that it makes him vulnerable to act on pressures applied to him by the White House or by the Justice Department or by the State Department, by the intelligence community, to not delve into a discussion of issues that the White House does not want discussed out in the open. As such, he's been neutered, and I think it's appropriate that he, at least for the moment, until the investigations are over, until he's exonerated, if that's what it's to be, that he give up the gavel to another senior Democrat on the committee, possibly Barbara Boxer of California or Ben Cardin of Maryland, who are numbers 1 and 2 in line behind him in terms of order of Senate seniority.
Yeah, well, that's a good question to ask, because obviously in this day where we are finding that the White House clearly and the Office of the Secretary of State have misled the American people with regard to what went on in Benghazi, and who may or may not be misleading the American people with regard to other issues in foreign affairs. The Foreign Relations Committee in the U.S. Senate is the place where we, the people, can hold our elected officials accountable. So, it sure seems to me that if he's feeling any kind of conflict, that he ought to, even if he's perceived to be possessing such a conflict, that he ought to pass the gavel. But, of course, it would be up to him to do so. I don't know if there's any way we can make him do that. I'm concerned, as most Americans, I think, should be, about the dangerous situation this places our country in, given the Senate's special role in foreign affairs. I mean, I'm looking at your article in the U.S. News and World Report from April 24th of 2014. Tell me where it is he'd have to diverge with the presidency or the president's administration if he were to actually hold him accountable.
Well, we know that Senator Menendez wants to take a tougher line on Iran than the administration wants. Senator Menendez, on another subject, has apparently made it clear that he's not for turning the Internet over to a private non-governmental organization called ICANN, or the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, which is what the Obama administration says it wants to do by early fall of 2015. Been no hearing on that. And again, I'm not suggesting that the senator is guilty of anything. What I am saying is that the salacious nature of some of the things he was originally suggested to have been involved with means that any leak coming out of the investigation, even if it's simply a discussion of what they're looking into, is potentially a career ender for him. And so the people most likely to leak work for President Obama, the Justice Department.
Yes, and I think we are trusting a gentleman who is embattled himself it says here in your article that he's racked up more than $400,000 in legal bills. And he has been forced to admit that he took at least one more improper trip than the ones he's already disclosed. And then he had to pay $11,000 back to a donor, and it looks like he had to do that out of campaign funds. So, gee whiz, it sure seems like we've got a real important position being filled by a man who's just riddled with all kinds of ethical difficulties. At this point, I've got to take you to break, Peter. I hope you can hold on through the break. We're not done talking about this yet. Listeners, if you would like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time, log on to patriotsride.org. We're really proud of our new internet broadcast partners at patriotsride.org and also those at cprworldwidemedia.com and vigilantlibertyradio.us. Now you can listen to Conservative Commandos Radio Show at any time, any day at 832-999-1199. And we're going to go to break right now. We want to encourage you to please check out our websites while we're at the break. ConservativeCommandosRadioshow.com and CCRShow.com. We're speaking right now with Peter Roth and is on the subject of my own New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez.
Where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. EnjoyAbaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
EnjoyAbaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Show, coming to you live from WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia and around the world on the Internet. If you'd like to hear today's show rebroadcast, you can tune in at 10:10 this evening Eastern Time at patriotsride.org for a rebroadcast of yesterday's show. At 5 p.m. this evening, you can go to cprworldwidemedia.com, click on that Listen Live link, and you can listen to a repeat broadcast of today's show tomorrow afternoon by going to vigilantlibertyradio.us. Click on that Listen Live link. And now you can listen to Conservative Commandos radio show anytime, any day by calling 832-999-1199, 832-999-1199. Use your cell phone at no extra cost. It does use mobile minutes. Now, listeners, we're coming back to you and this segment speaking with Peter Roth, who is a contributing editor at U.S. News and World Report, and we are talking about my own U.S. Senator from New Jersey, Bob Menendez, all the troubles and scandals that he's been levied with, the conflict of interest. I'll use the term, Peter. Conflict of interest he may have with the Obama administration, and as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee in the U.S. Senate, supposedly going to be holding him accountable and apparently just giving Obama a free pass. Is that the way you see it, Peter?
Well, there's certainly the possibility for political skullduggery laying about, as long as the senator's under investigation by the FBI. That information that should remain inside the FBI or the U.S. Attorney's Office or the Department of Justice leaks out into the public domain, creating political pressures on Senator Menendez. He's vulnerable to those pressures, and as such, they can be used to control his behavior as chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And I just think that this is much too dangerous a time internationally to allow someone who is potentially compromised to lead that very important committee.
Yeah, I think, Peter, you have a point. I think what we've got to really think about here, listeners, is that we've got a gentleman who is accused of some pretty heavy stuff. I mean, he's traveled abroad. He's used campaign funds improperly. He's used illegal contributions. And then he's been accused of sex scandals, with minors overseas. We'll quibble about which law applies to the definition of a minor, but these, girls were 14 years old or 15 years old. I mean, these are youngsters. These are not women. These are girls. So, I mean, these are serious allegations. And, of course, he's racked up $400,000 in legal bills. So he's fighting them, and it's costing money. I mean, this is a substantial problem that he has. And obviously, he's being a representative of the people. He's being asked to hold the Obama administration, the White House, essentially, accountable for errors they're making. I mean, errors, fraud, lies, deceit, whatever you want to call it. They're making some serious problems internationally, and it is the job of the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee to lead the investigation against the Obama administration. And this man, in such difficulty, is trying to keep a low profile for his own benefit and not cross the Obama administration, who's, I guess, the leader of this political party. I mean, sure looks to me like there's conflict of interest all over the place here, Peter. What is it we can do? I mean, I wonder if there's anything we can do at this point.
Well, I suppose the only thing that people can do is contact their own members of the United States, particularly those who serve on the Foreign Relations Committee, and share their opinion that they should surrender the gavel. And I suppose there's no harm in calling his office or sending an email to the senator himself, even if you're not a New Jersey resident, sharing your views on whether or not he should remain chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, because he's under investigation. And again, no one's pronouncing him guilty. I'm simply suggesting that the salacious nature of the things being investigated, some of which you allude to, put him in a very difficult position regarding the potential for leaks. And a mere discussion of something that's being investigated, whether he's involved in not, guilty or not, true or not, is potentially career-ending in this case.
Yep, I think that's certainly good points made. And it's not going to go away, these problems, that Senator Menendez has. They are not going away. As a matter of fact, he's most recently been forced to admit that he took at least one more improper trip. Now, when you're forced to admit something, listeners, that means somebody found you out. And that means the investigation is still ongoing. And it seems to me that if he's had to admit this, claim it's an oversight, and then reimburse somebody $11,000, he's definitely on defense. I mean, sure looks to me like he's on defense. The fact that he's paying for it out of campaign funds means it was probably an improper donation, or at least a donation that wasn't recorded, but I don't know. You know, the investigation has still got to come to light, but these problems are obviously ongoing. They're not going away. How can we, the people, trust a man who is so embattled to lead the charge against the Obama administration in the White House, where it comes to fraud and deceit and misrepresentation and a failure, in addition, to do the job they're charged with? Peter, I don't know. I guess you've got a really important subject here. Tell us where we can go to find out more information about this, and certainly let our listeners know what you want them to do.
You can read all about it on www.usnews.com in the opinion section on the Thomas Jefferson Street blog, which is where you'll find my writings on Senator Menendez and Iran and Senator Kerry's apartheid state, or Secretary Kerry, apartheid state comments about Israel. And I just encourage you to comment on the live comment section of the blog and share your thoughts with me. I take the effort to read them and share my columns with your friends and neighbors, and of course contact your members of the United States and express whatever your opinion may be on the matter of whether or not Bob Menendez should keep the capital.
I think you make a good point there too, Peter. We do need to have the opinion of we the people, and it's a good opportunity, listeners, if you're plugged in with Peter Roth at his articles, that you go ahead and make those comments and let Senator Menendez and others know what you're thinking about all of this. Peter, thank you so much for spending this time this afternoon with us at Conservative Commandos Radio Show. We hope to have you come back soon, and thanks so much for your work.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. You have a nice weekend.
Oh, you too. So, listeners, that was Peter Roth. He's with U.S. News and World Report, and he was talking to us about New Jersey Senator, U.S. Senator from New Jersey, Bob Menendez. You know, he's certainly riddled with scandal, and leading up to Foreign Relations Committee at the U.S. Senate, the very committee that would be called upon, or should be called upon, to hold the Obama administration accountable for failures in Libya, Ukraine, and Iran, among others around the globe. Jonathan Mosley, what are your thoughts with regard to the failures of the President of the United States and Secretary of State relative to Libya and Ukraine and Iran?
Well, I know we've only got a minute, but I remember, it's kind of being nice, because this raises the potential of the blackmail word, that this sounds like the FBI Filegate controversy under the Clinton administration, where this kind of information was worried that it would be used to intimidate people, get them to be silent, get them to do what other people want them to do. And I'm not sure someone in that situation could get a security clearance, do you think, under those circumstances, because of the potential?
I don't believe so. No, I think you make a very, very good point, Jonathan. We've had a terrific show today, Jonathan. I want to thank you for joining us co-host today in the absence of Rick Trader. You'd have me talking to myself here in the studio. Well, I guess John Forsyth would be there. I want to thank John Forsyth on the boards, our own Silent John, as Rick Trader calls him, for getting us through the show today and making sure we get to break on time. And I want to thank our guests of Jesse Jane Duff, J.D. Winteregg, and Peter Roth. And Jonathan, any last words for our listeners as we roll out at the end of the show here?
Jess, I know I had fun, and Rick missed out. I had fun.
Yeah, and I know Rick will be listening to the tape, and he'll be giving us all kinds of critique. He'll be back again. So, listeners, thanks so much. This has been the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. We got to go. We got to run, and we'll see you next week on the radio.
Thank you for listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show. Huge thanks to our co-hosts, contributors, patrons, callers, and our friends at WNJC 1360 and WIFI 1460, where we broadcast live every Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 to 4 p.m. Central. Look for us on the internet at www.ccrshow.com. Until next time, we are the Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard.